Welcome to this IELTS Listening Practice Test, brought to you by Spinta, your partner in English exam success. This test simulates the real IELTS listening experience with authentic question types, timing, and difficulty levels you'll encounter on exam day. You'll hear the audio only once, just like in the actual test, so stay focused and keep your pencil ready. Remember to read the questions carefully during the preparation time and transfer your answers accurately. This practice will help you build confidence, improve your listening skills, and familiarize yourself with the IELTS format.
Part 1. Now look at Part 1. You will hear a man telephoning an escape room center to make a booking. You will now have some time to look at the questions.
Hello, the Enigma box, Astrid speaking. How may I help you?
Hi there. I'd like to make a booking for an escape room for a group of friends, please.
Certainly. I can help with that. First, have you had a look at the different room themes we offer on our website?
Yes, we have. We were all really interested in the one called The Alchemist's Secret. It sounds great.
An excellent choice. It's our most popular room. Could I take your name for the booking, please?
Yes, it's Diego Morales.
Diego. And could you spell your surname for me?
Of course. It's Morales.
Thank you. And how many people will be in your group?
There will be 4 of us all together.
Perfect. And which date were you thinking of?
We'd like to book it for Saturday, the 22nd of October.
The 22nd of October. Let me just check availability. Yes, we have slots available. And finally, a contact number.
It's 07-91171-3544.
713,544. Great. Is there anything else I need to know? Any special requirements for the group?
Well, it's not a big deal, but one of my friends is colorblind. Some of the puzzles in these rooms rely on color. Will that be a problem?
That's a very good question. We've actually designed all our puzzles to be solvable without color vision. We use symbols and patterns as well, so your friend will have no trouble at all. We appreciate you mentioning it, though.
That's brilliant. Thank you. So what times are free on that Saturday?
Let's see. We have slots every 90 minutes. The last slot we have available for that evening is at 8:30 p.m. Would that suit you?
8:30 p.m. would be perfect. And what is the total price?
For 4 people, it's £24 per person, so that comes to a total of £96.
£96. Got it. And can you just confirm the address for me?
Of course. We're on Castle Street, right next to the city's main museum. You'll see our big purple door.
Next to the museum. Excellent. One last thing. What happens when we finish?
Whether you escape or not, your games master will come and debrief you, and we offer every team a complimentary photo to remember the experience. You can choose to pose with our fun props.
A free photo. That's a nice touch. Okay, let's book that then. Thank you for your help.
Part 2. Now look at Part 2. You will hear the curator of an art gallery giving a welcome talk to visitors at a new exhibition of indigenous art. You will now have some time to look at the questions.
Kia ora, and a very warm welcome to the Te Auhau, or New World exhibition. My name is Kalani, and I'm the curator here at the City Gallery. It is my great honor to introduce you to this landmark collection of contemporary indigenous art. Before you explore, I'd like to give you a brief orientation to the space. Please take a look at the floor plan on the screen behind me. We are currently standing in the entrance hall, which is marked as A. As you move into the main exhibition space, the first room you will come to, directly on your left, is Gallery 1. This is marked C on the plan. This gallery is called Ancestral Voices, and it features a stunning collection of contemporary paintings. Continuing straight on from Gallery 1, you will enter Gallery 2, which is marked D. We've called this Woven Histories, and it houses an extraordinary collection of textile art and weaving. Now, if you go back to the central corridor and turn left, you will find Gallery 3 at the very back of the building, which is marked F on your plan. This gallery, Carved Legacies, showcases a breathtaking range of sculptures in wood and stone. To the right of Gallery 3 is our audiovisual space, marked E, where we have a looping film showing interviews with some of the artists. Finally, I'd like to draw your attention to the special workshop area. This is the large room on the right-hand side of the main corridor, at point G. This is where our artist in residence will be working throughout the exhibition. Now, let me tell you a little about what you are about to see. In Gallery 1, the paintings often employ intricate dot patterns. These are not just for decoration. They are a visual language used to represent creation stories and sacred journeys. Look closely and you can trace the paths of the ancestors. In Gallery 2, the weaving is particularly special. The artists have used traditional techniques, but the dyes are all made from native plants and minerals, sourced from their own lands. The colors you see are literally the colors of the landscape. And in Gallery 3, the carvings are incredible. Please take the time to appreciate the detail. For the artists, these pieces are more than just art. They serve as a historical record, preserving ancient knowledge and genealogies in physical form. Just a quick note on gallery etiquette. You are welcome to take photographs, but we ask that you do so without the use of a flash, as the bright light can damage these delicate works over time. And finally, I'm delighted to announce that this Saturday, we will have a special guest artist giving a talk and demonstration. She is a master of her craft, and her specialist skill is traditional pottery, a practice that has been revived by a new generation. Her talk is free, and I highly recommend it. Please enjoy the exhibition.
Part 3. Now look at Part 3. You will hear two students, Priya and Omar, discussing their project on the circular economy with their tutor, Dr. Lindberg. You will now have some time to look at the questions.
Come in. Priya, Omar, good to see you. How are you getting on with your joint project on the circular economy?
Hello, Dr. Lindberg. We've done some initial reading, but we're struggling to narrow our focus. Our first idea was just to look at recycling.
I see. And what was the issue with that?
Well, we realized that while recycling is part of the circular economy, it's only a small part. Focusing just on that was a bit simplistic, and missed the bigger picture of redesigning systems.
Exactly. That's a very common mistake. The circular economy is a much broader concept. It's a fundamental rethink of our traditional linear economy. the take, make, dispose model.
And the problem with that linear model is that it's inherently wasteful.
Precisely. It treats materials as if they are disposable and, more importantly, it operates on the flawed assumption that we have infinite resources to draw upon, which of course we don't.
So for our case studies, we need to look for companies doing more than just recycling. I was reading about a lighting company that doesn't sell light bulbs anymore. Instead, they sell light as a service. The company owns the fittings and is responsible for maintenance and replacement, which incentivizes them to make the products as long-lasting and efficient as possible.
An excellent example of a product as a service model. It completely changes the dynamic.
We need a few more distinct examples. I found one about modular phones. The idea is that instead of replacing the whole phone, you can just upgrade individual components like the camera or the battery. That's a great example of extending a product's life.
Oh, that's clever. And I saw a company that collects used coffee grounds from cafes and turns them into biofuel logs for heating, so they're treating waste as a resource.
Perfect. And there are social examples too, like the rise of tool libraries. Instead of 100 people on a street each owning a drill they use once a year, they can all borrow from a central stock. That's a classic sharing economy model.
And for a more biological example, we could look at regenerative agriculture, where farming practices are designed to actually improve the soil and biodiversity, so it's a system that regenerates natural systems, rather than degrading them.
These are all fantastic examples covering the key principles. So how will you structure your project?
I think we should focus on one industry to give it more depth. The fashion industry is notoriously wasteful, so it could be a good choice to find case studies of circular innovation.
A very good choice. A lot of interesting things are happening there. What will your final output look like?
We were thinking a presentation, and a key part of it would be a clear diagram that illustrates the flow of materials in a circular system, contrasting it with the linear one.
Excellent. Visuals are very important. Just one word of caution. When you choose your case studies, make sure you also consider their economic viability. A great idea is no good if it isn't a sustainable business. That's a critical point to include in your analysis.
That's a very good point. Thank you, Dr. Lindberg.
Part 4. Now look at Part 4. You will hear a university lecture on the topic of ocean acidification. You will now have some time to look at the questions.
Good morning. In our previous lectures we've discussed the impact of rising atmospheric carbon dioxide on global temperatures. Today I want to focus on a related but distinct consequence: ocean acidification. To begin, it's important to understand the basic chemistry involved. The world's oceans are a vast carbon sink, meaning they absorb a significant amount of the CO2 we release into the atmosphere. In fact, it's estimated that they absorb approximately 25% of the CO2 that humans produce each year. Now, when carbon dioxide dissolves in seawater, it undergoes a series of chemical reactions. The primary result of these reactions is the formation of carbonic acid. This increases the acidity of the water, which, on the pH scale, means a lower pH value. This change has a critical knock-on effect. It reduces the concentration of what are known as carbonate ions in the water. This is the crucial point, because carbonate ions are the essential building blocks that many marine organisms use to create their shells and skeletons. So, Which organisms are most affected? The most vulnerable are those that rely on this building material. This includes a huge range of species, from the corals that build our great reefs, to commercially important shellfish, like oysters, clams, and mussels. The process by which these organisms build their shells and skeletons is called calcification. As carbonate ions become scarcer, this process becomes more difficult and energetically costly for these creatures. Their shells may become thinner, more brittle, and grow more slowly. A particularly worrying example is the case of pteropods. These are tiny sea snails, often referred to as sea butterflies, which are a vital food source for a whole range of species in polar ecosystems, from krill to whales. Laboratory experiments have shown that under the acidic conditions predicted for the end of this century, the shells of these tiny creatures can actually start to dissolve. The loss of such a foundational species could cause a catastrophic collapse in those food webs. The consequences don't stop with shell builders. There is growing evidence that the changing chemistry of the ocean affects the behavior of fish. For instance, studies on clownfish have shown that it can impair their sense of smell. This is critical for detecting predators, finding suitable habitats, and even recognizing their own species. If fish can't smell properly, their very survival is threatened. This disruption to their ability to avoid predators has obvious and serious implications for population survival and the balance of marine ecosystems. For all these reasons, ocean acidification is often referred to by scientists as the other CO2 problem. While global warming gets most of the attention, acidification is a silent but equally profound threat to the health of our oceans. It's a direct chemical consequence of our carbon emissions. And it's happening now. In our next lecture, we will examine some of the potential strategies being researched to mitigate these effects.
And pencils down. You've survived another IELTS listening marathon. If your brain feels like it just ran a mental obstacle course, congratulations. That means you're doing it right. Want to torture yourself with more tests? We mean enhance your skills? Head to Spinta.org. That's Spinta.org, where we've got reading, writing, speaking practice, and vocabulary games that are actually fun. Yes, fun and IELTS in the same sentence. We're rebels like that. Thanks for listening with Spinta. Now go treat yourself to something nice. You've earned it. Spinta. Push forward. Achieve more.